President Yoon Suk Yeol is bound for Tokyo on Thursday for a sit-down with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. And it seems both Seoul and Tokyo see it as a chance to get the bumpy bilateral ties back on track through top-level diplomacy. Our presidential office correspondent Oh Soo-young starts us off this morning.
South Korea and Japan are set to normalize their bilateral relations with a breakthrough summit in Tokyo. Ahead of President Yoon Suk Yeol's working visit to Japan, National Security Advisor Kim Sung-han said the South Korean leader and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will discuss all areas of bilateral ties to break the vicious cycle of spiraling relations between the neighbors, which fell to a critical low 4 years ago. At the core of their talks will be resolving the trade dispute triggered in 2019, when Japan slapped controls on exports of key chip materials to Seoul. This followed a Korean court ruling that ordered Japanese firms to compensate the Koreans they subjected to forced labor before and during World War II. After Seoul announced this month a plan to compensate the Korean victims of forced labor through private funding without demanding reparations from Japanese firms, Yoon and Kishida will discuss follow-up measures to move forward. Stabilizing military intel sharing will also be discussed, as the practice became rocky under the previous Moon and Abe administrations.
There will be an opportunity to discuss ways to resolve policy barriers and deepen economic cooperation between the two countries. Through this summit and a dinner event, the two leaders can affirm their will to enhance bilateral relations as they build mutual trust on a personal level.
Yoon's schedule will begin with a lunch with Korean nationals, followed by a summit and state dinner with Kishida. Tokyo-based media says Kishida is likely to make a rare move of hospitality, treating Yoon to a two-pot dinner of Japanese beef stew and an omelette-topped rice dish known to be enjoyed by the South Korean leader. On Friday morning, Yoon will greet bilateral friendship groups and sit down for a roundtable and lunch with business leaders from both countries. Signifying the focus on future-oriented ties, the president will give a lecture to Korean and Japanese students at Keio University. As Yoon moves to restore top-level exchanges between the two countries since 2011, Kodo News says Kishida is considering inviting Yoon to the G7 summit in May and making a reciprocal visit to Seoul afterwards.
All eyes are now on whether the Yoon-Kishida meeting will result in a joint statement that turns their determination to improve bilateral ties into practical action. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.